The drive to procreate is the most powerful urge that you have. The instinct to survive, you would think that that's the number one issue. It's procreation, the sex drive. It's the one drive that we have that is virtually unstoppable. And it's something to be said about our civilization that we've been able to figure out a way to harness this power, this drive that every single one of us has. Yeah, a lot of times we don't see how we are acting in ways that are detrimental to other aspects of our lives because we become sexually obsessed by somebody. Great works of literature have been written about this. Great men, sensible men, because of lust, because of the desire for some woman or other, they just made a hash of their lives. Look at Parnell, for crying out loud. There is a reason that our civilization, for all intents and purposes, is based on the notion of controlling our sexual desire. The sexual drive can wreck your life. That's why so often you're going to find that after sex, after bedding that girl that you are absolutely crazy about, it's only after sex and after orgasm and the afterglow of lovemaking that's when you're going to figure out whether you really care about this person or not. And a lot of times the answer is going to surprise you. A lot of times you're going to find that you were crazy about some woman. You had this terrific sex, you had a great time, and then you're walking home or driving home or whatever, and then you're thinking to yourself, and you're really calm, and you're thinking about the woman you just were with, and you realized, I don't like her. I don't want to be with her. This happens all the time. It happens all the time, and it's happened to every single guy. The great historian Robert Caro said that power reveals. Well, that's very true, but also sex reveals. Sex reveals what is hidden to us because sexual desire blinds us. It's sexual desire that keeps us from seeing the person that we're lusting after and prevents us from realizing that this person might be terrible for us. Because the sexual impulse, the sexual drive, it just makes us blind. It's horrible in a very real way. And at the same time, it's delicious. It's fun to be in the throes of sexual obsession. It's fun and delicious and terrible and awful. We crave it, we need it, especially when we're young. When we're young, we fall prey to it all the time. And here comes the problem. See, not only does it blind us, but a lot of times, because of the sexual obsession, we will wind up making promises and commitments that we never should have. In the past, when sexuality was tightly regulated, when the people around you, your social group or what have you, would control your sexual appetites and not allow girls and boys to sleep one another at random as they do today, right? There was an awareness of how sexual desire and can lead to sexual obsession, and sexual obsession can lead to a complete blindness. And so because of it, so many cultures adopted the very, very wise strategy of matchmakers, of people who would put two people together, boys and girls together, and not allow them to decide. No, not allow them to decide, because a lot of times the hormones blind you. And it was a very wise system. Because a lot of times those marriages that were brokered this way, those marriages that were arranged, they were happy. A lot happier than marriages that came out of romantic love. That came out of, not romantic love, we call it romantic love to gussy it up, to pretty it up, but it's just lust, yeah? Unhinged sexual desire. Unhinged sexual desire that led to two people marrying, fucking each other's brains out for a few weeks, and then discovering that they hated each other. It happened all the time. It still happens, as a matter of fact. It still happens all the time. Because what happens is that because there are no rules, there are no limits, we are living, as I've said before, in this deregulated sexual marketplace. Men and women get together just on the basis of sexual attraction. If they have the hots for one another, they come together. Irrespective of whether they are good for each other long term, irrespective of whether they're good for each other medium and short term being more than a couple of months, right? They get together just because they're hot for one another. And what happens is that they fuck each other's brains out for a while, and then that lust cools. And as it cools, they're left with one another, and they decide that they don't like one another. And it can be a disaster. That's why what you have to do as a guy, and perhaps women who are watching me, they should do the same thing. See, what you have to do is that as soon as you're done having sex with somebody, the great sex that you have with whomever, right? You've been lusting after this person, what have you, you've had a few conversations with them, whatnot. As soon as you have sex with them, and as soon as you have a moment to yourself to collect your thoughts away from the other person, on your own, when you're away from them, you start thinking about who this person really is. Because you will have gathered all kinds of clues about them. You'll know who they are. You'll have a sense of them. You will have noticed the little things. And in your lust, in your sexual desire, you will have tried to ignore those things. But in the afterglow of sex, when you've just got it out of your system, and you're alone, the other person is not around. The other person's presence, their sexual presence, is not around. You think about them, and you think to yourself, well, is this somebody that I really want to be with? That's a hard question to ask. It's a hard question to ask because a lot of times, to get the person that you really wanted, you invested a lot of emotional chips. And by the way, this happens with everything in life, okay? Not just with women. It can happen with like your job or whatnot, or the thing that you desire. For instance, you desire a certain position in a certain job, or you desire a certain achievement in your business, and you strive for months and months and perhaps years, and you finally achieve it. And when you get there, you're like, I don't really like this. Is this it? It happens all the time. But you have to make the determination, once you have achieved the thing that you want, once you're with the woman you want, or once you've achieved the career goal or business goal or what have you, you have to make this, it's incredibly difficult, okay? And do you know why I'm laughing? Because it's happened to me a number of times. I reached some goal, I bedded some girl, I achieved something that I wanted to do in my profession, and I realized that it was not only not a big deal, but I didn't really care for it. I didn't really want it. I didn't really want her. Yeah. And that was a rough acknowledgement to make because it had taken me so long. There had been such an investment of my time and my attention to get this girl, to get this achievement, to get whatever. And it was hard to admit it to myself that I was like, I got the wrong girl. I got the wrong position. I got the wrong thing. It's not what I really wanted. Yeah. And it's happened to me. Yeah, and it's incredibly rough going. Yeah, I'll tell you a specific case. Yeah, when I published my first novel, yeah, I got a boatload of cash for it. It took me a long time to write the damn thing, and I got lucky. I found the right agent, and the agent was able to position it with the right publisher, and I published my first novel, and it was all set, all roses. I got paid a boatload of cash. I should have been happy as a clam. But I really wasn't. And the thing is, see, I realized it when the novel was finally published. I went down to a Barnes & Noble, and I swear to God, there was an actual pyramid of my books at the Barnes & Noble. Yeah. The Barnes & Noble that I used to go to all the time, there it was. This pyramid of novels that I had written, right? And all the copies were stacked up like a Christmas tree kind of pyramid, right? And you picked up any one of those books, which ironically were foiled in gold, right? And you opened it up, and there was my picture, there was my name. And I felt nothing. And the thought of having to do another novel, it was like a weight on my mind, just groaning, yeah? This groaning weight weighing me down, and I'm like, what the fuck did I do? This happened to me in my profession, it's happened to me with women, and it'll happen to you. That you will strive and struggle to achieve some goal, bed some girl, write some book or publish some book or whatever the fuck, and you'll say to yourself, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. And that's when you have to put on the big boy pants. What you have to do is realize that you made a mistake and try to figure out right then and there how to get out of it. You bedded the wrong girl. You bedded the wrong girl, or you achieved the goal that you realize only retrospectively you didn't really want or didn't really fulfill you. Well, then you have to figure out how to get out of this hole that you're in. With a woman, it's easy. With a woman, you just say, you know something, I don't think we're going to work out. and just break it off. Don't be dumb, yeah? Once you realize that you were crazy about some girl and you finally nailed her, but you realized as you got to know her before fucking her that she's just an awful person, or maybe she's just a person that's just not gonna fit with you, okay? That you and her, you're just not made for one another. On the contrary, you're polar opposites, and not in the magnetic polar opposites that attract, no, in the kind of polar opposites that are always gonna be at loggerheads, right? Well, what you gotta do is you gotta cut it off. The sooner the better, because you draw it out, and it's going to hurt more. It's going to hurt you more. It's going to hurt her more. You're going to be wasting your time and effort on a person that you realize is just not worth your time. It's just not for you. And if it's some profession or some job achievement or what have you, you got to figure out how to get out of it. Okay? I mean, you don't want to burn your bridges, right? Like I said in the video, monkey branching, you can find it right here. You always want to grab hold of the next vine before you let go of the last one, okay? You're Tarzan, swinging through the jungle. Yeah, always hold on to the last vine. Never let it go until you have the next one firmly in your grip, right? And only then you let go and move on to the next one. But in your job, you never let go of the last one, okay? But you realize that the last one that you got, the one that you finally achieved, the one that you thought would make you happy and all that, it makes you miserable. Go on to the next one as soon as possible. Go to the next, whatever it is. Just get out of it. Because the longer you stay at some position and some level or some achievement, right? The longer you stay there, the more miserable you are going to be. The more miserable you become, the less effective you're going to become. And the more you're going to damage your reputation and frankly damage your own soul. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than doing something or being with someone that you don't really want to be with or do or whatnot. There's nothing worse, and it just eats away at you, eats away at your soul. And when I talk about soul, what I'm talking about is that thing inside you that is the you underneath it all, okay? I don't believe in this God stuff or sweet sunny Jesus and your soul is going to go to Virgin Mary and shit like that. I'm talking about like on a secular level, okay? On a psychological level. That soul that you have, the thing that is your personhood, it will degrade the longer you stay in a situation that you realize retrospectively is a mistake. Or the longer you stay with a woman that you realize is a mistake. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable, and it's going to show, and it's going to hurt your position because you're not going to be able to hide it for very long. It's going to hurt your position, and it's going to make you decay. And of course, you're with some girl. You took forever to bed her. You finally bedded her, and then you realize, on the drive home, no, she's not for me, man. She's just not for me. I just don't like her for whatever reason. There are going to be valid reasons, and ultimately it doesn't really matter. If you don't like a girl, you don't like a girl, and that's that, right? Well, it's going to hurt, and also you're going to get a whole shit ton of shit thrown your way, right? They're going to call you this, that, the other. They're going to call you all kinds of names, right? They're going to call you a bastard or an asshole, right? Well, then my suggestion is just assume that mantra. Say to yourself, yeah, okay. I am an asshole. I am a bastard. Accept it. Don't shy away from it. More to the point. Don't do something that will hurt you in order to not hurt the feelings of somebody else. Okay? And that's the bottom line. If you have to be the son of a bitch, you have to be the asshole, you have to be the bastard who cuts somebody off because they are not right for you, be it a woman, be it a job, be it business, whatever. If you have to be that SOB, that asshole, that bastard, be him. Go ahead, I give you permission. You will regret it if you don't.